So it's 11 and we can get started. Hi, my name is François. I'm a sales manager at Airsoft. On the agenda today, we will continue on the tricks and tips series that we started already with some of the past webinars. With me today, I have my Danish wingman, Tim, who will answer your questions, so you can use the chat box in the GoToWebinar panel. I will make room after the session for more questions to let you follow the presentation better. We expect this webinar to be somewhere in the range of 25 minutes. The webinar will be recorded and made available online later on. So let's get started. Today I will show you 10 different tricks and tips that you can use in Soilwork or in CustomTools. Some of them might already be familiar to you, but I hope that you will get inspired. Some of the tricks that you will show you today might help you to gain more from CustomTools and also bring more consistency to your Soilwork data. Okay, fasten your seatbelt and let's get started. The first tip is more a Soilwork related tips than a CustomTools one. Some of our customers complained that CustomTools was using the wrong face when creating DXF files. After investigating the issue, we realized that CustomTools was doing what it was supposed to do, but the issue could easily be fixed in SolidWorks. For some DXF files, it might not matter which side of the sheet metal plate you are using for the cutting if both sides of the plates are identical. On the other hand, both sides of the sheet metal plate may be different, so we may have like different finish. One side may be polished or brushed and the other side may be just raw. In that case, showing the face used for the cutting is critical, as you probably want the polished side to show up. Here we have an image to illustrate why choosing the correct face for cutting might be important. So I have an Italian mocha and we can see that it's quite shiny from the outside. So let's go to SolidWork. So here I'm going to first run the file conversion just to show you what side we are using here. So here I have just this file, so I'm just creating a DXF. And I'm going to open it. Okay, and we can see that the band has been put on the left side. So if I click Explore, we have the DXF, and now I will open the DXF file just to show you here that here we have the band for that plate was put, as I said, on the left side. So let's close it, and I'm just going to rename so we can just compare. So let's call it 1. So now when I return to SolidWorks, if I click here on the flat pattern, so here I can just click the edit feature, and from the fixed face you're able to select what face should be used for the DXF. So you see here I'm using the one from under, but if I would like to use this face from the top, I just need to select it from SolidWorks, click OK, and then we can save the part, and I'm going to run one more time the DXF file conversion to show you that now the face will change also inside the DXF. So if you remember earlier we had the band on the left, and now we are going to have it on the right. Okay, so here I can open the first one that we have created. So we can see here that we have the band on the left side. And if I click the one that we just created just now, we can see here that this one is on the right side. So this is how we can control the face used during the DXF conversion. So you just need to make sure that things are done correctly inside SolidWorks. Okay, so let's continue here with the PowerPoint. The next one, so in the print and convert, you can modify a property value inserted in your drawings during the batch operation. So this is usually used to insert a customer name or a date when the drawings were processed. You can now use that same option to drive the folder location during the file conversion operations. This allows you to save, basically to define the save folder on the fly. So if you return to SolidWorks, I can close that part. So here I have a bracket here. So I can show you here that we have a customer which is called ATRsoft. Okay. So now when I go to the option, I can define that the property called ATRsoft, I can enable the overwriting in the print and convert. So here we have the enable print and convert. So I just select that option. Also here from the file conversion profile, if I go to PDF, we can see here that that same property is also used to define the basically the folder where the documents are going to be stored. So I can run two conversions. So if now I go to the print and convert, so the customer name, if I'm not going to change it here, I just leave it empty. So if I remember properly, it was just ATRsoft. So I'm going to create the subfolder called ATRsoft, as I did not modify the customer during the batch operation. Okay, so here we have ATRsoft. But now I'm going to return to the print and convert, and I'm going once again to select the PDF as a customer, and now I'm going to modify the name of the customer. So we are just going to call it CustomTools here. And now the folder called CustomTools will also be created on the fly. So here, if we now return to the folder, so now we have the folder called CustomTools, and we have the PDF that was automatically stored. Okay. So as for the previous tip, you can use the exact same option to modify your node templates on the fly. Node templates are usually used with the DXF file conversion. So if the option enable overwriting in print convert is selected, and that same property is used in your node template, then you will be able to change a value inserted in the node template during the DXF file conversion, whether you make the conversion from the drawings or from the part. Okay, so let's return to SolidWorks, and now I'm going to open the option. So here we have the node template, so I have the laser cuts, and let's assume that I would like to hear the name of the customer here, and I'm just need to double click on the customer to insert it here in the node. So the node is called leather cut, and I can show you the file conversion profile for DXF. So here I'm going to create a DXF from the part. I can see here that the customer is also used here in the path. And if I click here on the conversion option, we can see here that the leather node is also used when I create DXF from part using that conversion profile. So if once again I open the print and convert, so I'm going to select DXF here, and we can use the same customer as we had earlier, the CustomTools one. So now CustomTools is creating the DXF, and I'm also going to insert the node. So as you can see, like the overwriting can be used also to drive the folder and also the node templates. So here I now have CustomTools, my DXF that I've just created, and if we check it inside eDrawings, we can see here that the name of the customer was automatically inserted during the creation of the DXF file. Okay, so if you are using configuration in SolidWorks, then you probably only want to print the drawings referenced by the active configuration of the top-level assembly. Why to print all the configuration if you only need few of them? If you are using configuration in SolidWorks, then I assume that you rather create a separate drawing for each configuration or use one drawing with specific sheet per configuration. The good news is that CustomTools support both approaches. So if I return to the option, then select here the print property, so we can see that we have two profiles defined. And if I select the reference by model configuration, then CustomTools will only print the active configuration. I can show you here. For instance, I have not that one. It should be that one here. So here I'm using the, I have two configurations. So I have the configuration 100, which is used here. And we can see here that part has three different configurations, the 100, 150, and 200. And here I'm using the 150 configuration. So the configuration called 200 has not been used here for that assembly. If I click on the where used, we can see here that for that part we only have one drawing. So basically I have one drawing, but I have made three different sheets with which contain views of each of the configuration. And here I have a plate, and I also have like basically three configuration made for that plate. But for this one, I did not do like one drawing, but I created three specific drawings, so one for each configuration. So now if I go to the print and convert, so here we can see that we have the plate here that we had made, and here we have the small tube and the other one also. So here if I now select the print all, so we can see here for the plate that CustomTools automatically select the drawings of the right configuration, so it was the 151. And here for the tube that I had, so I had like one drawing but three different sheets, we can see here that CustomTools automatically select the right sheet here. Okay, so I don't need to run the file conversion, the print today, because it might be a bit hard to show you. So we can move to the next one. So for many years in CustomTools, you've been able to control the visibility of group of properties based on some other custom property value. Recently, we introduced the possibility to manage property visibility based on other custom property value. This option allows you to simplify the property pane and only ask the user to fill properties that are needed. So if now I go to CustomTools, so let's stay here. I can open, for instance, that plate here. I can click here on the properties, and one more tip that I could show you, even to access the property. Now I will open the property pane, and we are going to view the property pane for the assembly. But if I select a plate here, we can see here that the property pane update based on the component that I have selected here. So here I have basically a type, so I have a part can be fabricated or it can be purchased. If the part is fabricated, then we can see that we have like new properties to fill. You see here I have the group that just appear. So this is how I can use a custom property value to control the group visibility. And here I have the part type, and basically based on the part type that I have, I can define specific information. So in fact, I'm going to open that property so I can show you like how I can link dimensions. So let's go back to the property, and this will be a part that I'm going to fabricate. So from the part type, I have like different options that I can select. For example, if this would be a flat bar, then I can see here that the users need to fill the width, length, and thickness. If I would take, for instance, an hexagonal bar, then I only need to define the width and the length. So you see here, like based on the values that I'm going to select, then I have to define or not specific properties. So now I can just link the properties that I need. So here I have the width, sorry, it was the length, so I did it wrongly, and then here the thickness here, and then I have the property automatically correctly like generated. Okay, I can ignore the changes. So, show more columns in options property. This feature was introduced in CustomTools 2019, but might not be so easy to find. It could be very useful, especially for those persons providing support or working on the profile configuration. Additional columns can be displayed from the list of properties defined in the option. It allows you to quickly get a general overview of which functionalities are used for your custom properties without having to edit a custom property. So if I return to Soilwork and if I open the option, so this one is only here. So here by default we can see that we have the attribute, the label, the type. I believe the scope is something that I had added when I was preparing the webinar. But if you do a right click here, you see here we have quite a lot of different possibilities that we can add. For instance, I could define to add the properties that are required. So I can see here now only the length is a required property. I could also decide to add the tooltips. So here I can see the tooltips that have been defined, or then use just to check the one that are using a lookup list. So this can be quite useful just to give you an overview of your properties. Okay, compulsory field and max length in the export. Making sure that everyone in the companies follows the same standard is not that easy. CAD engineers have their own standard and people outside the engineering department have their own. Making the two coexist is not always easy, and what may be important for one might not be important for the other one. This is very true when it comes to data quality or data formatting. In CustomTools, you can make sure that data is consistent with the rest of the company. And one way to do it is to force users to fill specific properties or use a maximum length for a property before being able to run the export. For instance, if you want to export the BOM and create item in the ERP, or if you want to generate an Excel report. Okay, so I can open here. I have that piston that we have seen in some of the previous webinar. So here, when I click on the export, I can see that I have two red lines and the export button is not available. So if I now right click here, I can click on the what's wrong, sorry. And here we can see that basically the unit of measure is a field that needs to be defined in order to run the export. So this is something that I need to fix. And here I have another one, and I can see here that the maximum length is basically what I have defined currently for the description is too long. So I need just to make my description a little bit shorter. And then once I have fixed those files, I will be able to run the export. So first we need to check the unit of measure that was not defined. So here we can just use piece, okay, and then it was, I believe, that one here, and I just need to make the description a bit shorter. Okay, so now I can just click on the export, and now I don't have any longer any red lines. We can see here that the export button is now available, so I can now run the export. Okay, and I now have my Excel report here that I have just generated. This is a request that we receive frequently. How can I filter my Excel report based on some custom property values? For instance, I would like to see only the part that needs to be purchased, and in the default Excel report that is not possible, but it could easily be achieved through scripting. The other possibility is to use default filters already available in Excel. So if I now return to my Excel file, I can just click here on the filter. So you see here I have just added the filter. So I can, if I just want to see the document that have been approved, I just select purchased here, approved, yes, here, and here we can see all the documents that have been approved. So I can just show once again everything. And if I would like to see the one, for instance, that I need to buy here, I can click here on the filter, and here I will have like all the components that I need to purchase. So this is just like one small tip how you can use already built-in features of Excel just to filter your documents. Okay, so additional options, the operational. So from additional options of the property wizard, you can define additional settings to your properties. So copy as model property can be used to copy cut list item property to model property. Then we have the clear on save as or save as copy. So this will remove the property value when a new file is created from an existing one. Then we have the track history. So this allows you to track the 10 letters change of property value. Then we have copy as drawing property, which is used to copy a model or cut list item property to the drawing. And finally, we have the save value in uppercase, which automatically write the value in capital letters. Okay, so if I return to Soilworks, and we can check here, we can use that bracket for instance. So here I have the I can go to the option first just to show you here. I'm going to show you the first one, so how I can copy model properties. So if I go here to the sheet metal thickness, so here I will copy that attribute because I will also need it. The property is already created, but here I can use the copy as model property. So the copy as model property is only available for properties that have been defined in the cut list item properties. So here if I just select that option, I click finish, and then here we can see that we have exactly the same name here, and I don't need to make anything else here. I can click finish. So now I can show you here that we have the thickness that is automatically read from the cut list item, which is 2. And if I go here to the properties of the model, we can see here also that the sheet metal thickness has also been copied here. So this was for the first one. And now I'm going to show you basically all the other during the same. Yes, so here we are going to check the clear on save as or save as copy, also the track history, the copy as drawing property, and save in uppercase. Okay, so here I'm going to click on the properties. So we can see here that the customer already defined for that property is Airsoft. Okay, if I generate now a new drawing number, so CustomTools here automatically detect that the property value used to generate a file name has been modified and ask me if I want to copy the part. So there are two ways how we can use the clear value. So we can use it if we change here the name, or also from the copy. But here I'm just going to show it to you from the property. And also here I'm asked to copy and rename the drawing. Okay. So we can see here that I use also to have Airsoft, but it has also been removed from the drawing. So if I now go back here, the custom property called customer has been removed from the model and also from the drawing here. Okay. Now if I go back to the properties, so I will just enter a new name, and you can see here as I'm going to enter here from here I have the state. So you see here if I just type, it's in smaller letter, but if I go to the customer and start typing, it's automatically writes in capital letter. Okay, so now I'm going to write CustomTools here. I will save now the file here. We can now also track the history. So here we have the customer is now CustomTools. And let's assume that I want to change that value. So we are going to call it, for example, SolidWorks here. So value used to be CustomTools, it's now SolidWorks. And if we check from, if I now save the file, and if we check from the property, here we have the customer, history 1, CustomTools, and then here we have SolidWorks. So basically we are able to track the 10 latest change of property value. Also, we can check that the SolidWorks should be copied also at the property of the drawing. So if I now go to the drawing, okay, so here we can see that we can also keep track of the history inside the drawing. And if I click here, do I need to rebuild, or I'm not sure if I click? Yes, so here now we have the customer that was automatically written as a value of the properties defined for the drawing. Okay, so now I can close this part here as we don't need them anymore. Okay, I can reopen that plate here for the final tip. So, the final tip, tooltip options. It might not always be so obvious how custom properties need to be filled by the CustomTools users, whether you are new to the company or you are just a CustomTools user. In order to provide some guidance to the users, you can define a tooltip for your properties. From the basic information of the property wizard, you can write a tooltip for a custom property. The tooltip appears on the property when you hover your mouse pointer on the property field in the property pane. So you see here, if I go to the property, so here we have fabricated. So here we can see that when I hover the part type, I need required dimensions are based on the part type. Okay, and I can show you here how we could add also tooltip for the dimension. So if I go to the option here, I will select the dimension. So here we have the tooltip. So for example, I could just define here that this is generated only when all dimensions are defined. Okay, now I have defined the tooltip here. It also appears in the overview. And if we return to the property pane, if I now hover on the dimension here, we can see here that the tooltip was automatically added here. This is all I had to show you today. So for our next webinar, we'll introduce our Odoo ERP integration module. The webinar will take place on the 9th of January, same time as today. We are now open for questions when the recording is stopped, but first of all, I want to thank you all for attending this webinar, and I hope to see you all for the next one. Thank you and have a nice day. So the recording is now stopped, so we can check the...
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.